You thought that I was gonna come from out of the tent, didn't you? Well, these are our last days in Canada. The weather is absolutely beautiful, so we thought let's just go to a nude beach. We are Nick and Linz. For the last 5 years, we have been traveling to some of the most amazing nature places on the planet. And now we embarked on an epic journey to experience naturism in every continent of the world. Subscribe and travel along with us. Right now we are in Canada. Unfortunately, this is not a naturist campsite. We are staying in a provincial park called Port Burwell, and it is part of the Ontario provincial parks. It is really good. I mean, the pitches are huge, the staff is super friendly, the bathrooms are super clean, but yeah, there is just one point that disturbs us a little bit, and that is the clothing part. So maybe this is a tip for the parks, Ontario parks. Go clothing optional. Why not?
A few weeks ago in one of our videos we took you to Hamlet's Point, and we may have said that it's the only nude beach in Toronto, which apparently is wrong. Some of you pointed out that there's another nude beach here, but it's kind of secluded. Maybe it's kind of a secret, but we know where it is, so we're gonna check it out.
And we're gonna take you with us. Do you have any idea where we're going?
I do not.
Okay, so what are we gonna do then?
Don't worry, we'll find it.
Ah, I know a good thing that we can do. I see people in front of us wearing umbrellas, carrying umbrellas and chairs. So I think they're going to the beach too.
So we're just gonna rely on strangers, which is kinda what we always do.
Absolutely.
There is a sign that says that the beach is that direction, but Linz has the map and she is quite convinced that the beach is the other way. We'll see how that works out.
There's clearly a sign saying no path to the beach. But, I mean, it's just a sign. What do they know, right?
This looks like private property.
You have to yell? Because it's private property, you have to yell? I know, but we're looking for P5, parking spot 5. The thing is, the beach is on private property, right?
Just for the record, even though we are taking the complete opposite direction now, we were not wrong. I have to stress, we were not wrong.
Looks like we're getting closer. I mean, there's sand, obviously. And since we're going to the beach, sand beach, you get the point, right?
We found the beach. This section is still part of the provincial park, but according to the instructions we received, we should just start going west until we start seeing naked people. I can see some people in the distance. Let's hope it's there. By the way, this looks like a sea, but it's actually a lake. It's Lake Erie. It's one of the big lakes of Canada. And if we would just start swimming here, depending on our direction, we would definitely end up in the United States. But it might be in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, or in New York State. Given the temperature of just this small stream, United States Border Control doesn't have to worry that I will actually swim the lake. Don't worry about it, it's too cold for me. What do you think about swimming to the United States?
That's a long way.
The nude beach here actually is an interesting story. When we reach the end of the beach of the provincial park, we will arrive at private property. And normally this means that either you can't access or a lot less is possible, but in this case it's the other way around. It's the owner of the private property who has said that the beach can be used by nudists, that it's a clothing optional beach as long as we are respectful, which we obviously are gonna be.
It looks like there are some rocks dividing the park and the private property. Okay, so the division line were not rocks, but they're geese. Hi guys. But no joke, because the geese were the division line, because I see naked people. This is the spot?
This is the spot.
This is the spot. You want a drink?
Yes.
Cheers.
If you also want to visit this beach, you could look for the geese, but a much better way is just walk west and look for the naked people, because there are a lot of them. In fact, if you look at the whole beach, there are more naked people than clothed people. And this kind of proves our point that Ontario parks would be so much better off if they went clothing optional.
Okay, I have an idea. What if each and every one of you just send a message to Ontario Parks and ask them or tell them that they should go clothing optional? We will leave a link in the description and you can just send them a message.
This was officially our last night of tent life in Canada. Normally we were gonna camp for one night more, but it's gonna rain tonight or tomorrow and we need our tent to be very dry when we pack it up. So for tonight we will have to try to find something else. If you look at the road we took during the last 4 weeks, it looks like quite an impressive tour. But if we zoom out to see the whole country, it's hardly a dot on the map. So I guess we will have to come back to Canada a number of times if we want to see more of the country. But our time here is not yet finished. Our last days we're gonna spend at Bear Oaks, where we started this trip, but we still have a whole day to get there. So we don't even really have a plan, so just let's see what comes our way.
Maybe we can find some moose. How cool would that be? Or just wildlife in general? Come on, Canada!
We've been spending pretty much all our time in Canada in the wilderness and in nature, so maybe today would be a good time to discover a little bit of urban Canada. If the name Stratford rings a bell, it's probably not gonna be Stratford, Ontario. Stratford in the UK, however, that is the birthplace of William Shakespeare. And I read somewhere that this Stratford is trying to ride the wave of popularity a little bit. I don't know if it's the case in all of Canada, but here in Ontario, a lot of towns and cities have the same name as European cities. Here just in the area we've seen an Oxford, we've seen a Cambridge, there's even a London, Ontario. And it doesn't just stick with UK names, there's also a Kingston, Ontario, and there's also a Paris, Ontario, and that happens to be a very small town. Given that this was a British colony, I wonder if that is a coincidence or just a good joke. It seems like there is a motorcycle happening today, which kind of sucks the Shakespeare thing out of the town.
Hey, and according to Andy Warhol, we are making art. I mean, YouTube, this video is art, ladies and gentlemen.
To celebrate the fact that this town has been named after the birthplace of Shakespeare, there are a lot of theaters in town, and they also have a theater festival that lasts from roughly April all the way to November.
A rose by another name would smell as sweet.
I'm not sure if this town counts as urban Canadian because it mostly feels as if we were teleported back and forth to UK, to England. But yeah, who am I to judge? And maybe we find some other places along the way. The size of Canada aside, this country actually has some similarities with Belgium. One is definitely the unpredictable weather, and another one is that throughout history both countries have been overrun by people from other European countries. And those things leave their traces. Stratford and the English architecture were definitely a good example. I've also seen quite a number of German-sounding town names, but there's one type of people, one kind of people that particularly got our attention. The history of the Mennonites dates back to the 16th century in Central Europe. They are mostly known as a Christian community renowned for their commitment to pacifism, simplicity and close-knit communities. After playing a significant role in European history, many migrated to Canada where their legacy continues. This area is called Woolwich, and the internet says that there's quite a high concentration of Mennonites here. I'm not really sure what I expect to find. It's not that we're really big fans of holding on to old traditions, and definitely not of having your life dictated by the church. But on the other hand, sustainable living and community living and off-the-grid living are very modern trends, so who knows, maybe we find some inspiration. On first sight it looks mostly like a tourist town, but it does look completely different than Stratford. This is kind of what I thought that this village would actually look like.
Okay, this I think is really cool. Parking lot for cars. And the parking lot, I don't know if you see it. Oh, careful. For the horses. And they're right. This is cool, isn't it? I've never experienced something like this, so is it okay that I think it's cool? Yeah, it's okay. And I don't only think it's really cool because I've never seen it before, but also this is Canada. I mean, even if you are a minority, you are being included in society, and Canada is doing everything to make Canada feel like home and that you feel comfortable. So this is like double cool.
It's a small town and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot going on, but apparently there is a jazz festival. This is what a jazz festival in small town Canada looks like. I don't think it's very internationally known, but it's kind of cute. This is what happens when you don't really have a plan. You think you're gonna find something, but then you don't really find it, but you find something completely different. Maybe we'll never get the chance to meet the Mennonite and learn more about their culture, or maybe we'll just have to come back and do a lot more research. In any case, right now I think it's time to go find our accommodation for tonight. For the North Americans among you, this may be very ordinary, but for us Europeans, motels is a concept that we don't really know. In fact, we do know it, but it's only from the movies, and I can't think of a single movie with a motel where there wasn't a murder. So let's see what happens.
Excited!
Is there gonna be a dead body in her bed or not?
Who knows? Who knows? Okay. No. Okay, I can't open it. Let's try again. Yes. Yes, okay, okay. No dead body. Smells okay. Looks okay.
I gotta say it looks better than the average motel in the movies. It's gonna be fine for one night, I think.
We're still alive and we didn't get murdered, and we also didn't see any murder happening, so Hollywood was wrong. Anyway, I think we're ready for the final step of our road trip. No, we're checking in. It's Nick and Linz. We are in the cabin.
We had decided to get the cabin for our last night because we didn't want to risk our tent would get wet before we have to pack it in for good. And it seems like that was not a bad idea. If you want to see more of Bare Oaks, it's best to check out one of our previous videos or have a look at Destination Clothes Free, our other YouTube channel where we give the full tour. Because right now we're just gonna show you one specific element, something really, really Canadian. I think we mentioned earlier that Canada and Belgium have some similarities. This is another great example. This is probably the national dish of Canada. It's called poutine, and it's French fries with a gravy sauce and cheese. In Belgium we make something very, very similar, except that the gravy sauce is made with beer and instead of cheese there's meat, which makes our version yet a little bit better. But still, this is really good. If you've been following our Canada series here on YouTube, you may remember this scene.
Why don't we just sign the bag and you can put it up on your wall?
Now look at this! We had one last poutine, we made sure that our bag is on the wall, but the hours of nature's weather in Canada are shrinking very, very quickly, so I guess it's time to move on to another country. But that's gonna be for our next video.
Yep.
So if you don't want to miss that,
Make sure to subscribe to our channel, put on your notifications, and if you like this video, you know what to do. Give us a big fat thumbs up, and we just see you next week. Bye! These are our last days in Canada. The weather is beautiful, so let's bleh.
we found the beach. But according to the we should suggest
But before we can really keep...
or check out our clothes.